Hey folks, and welcome to We Built This White Lake. My name is Amy Van Loon. I'm the Executive Director of the White Lake Area Chamber of Commerce, and we are your hosts for We Built This White Lake, which is a series of podcasts. We are interviewing local businesses and organizations to hear their story. And today in the CatchMark Technologies podcast studio, we have with us Erin Pyre and Lynn Cotter from the Arts Council of White Lake. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Great to have you. We're going to go ahead and kick it right off. Erin, go ahead and share with us a little bit about who you are, maybe, as well as a little bit about the Arts Council of White Lake.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Erin Pyre. I've been with the Arts Council for almost 5 years at this point. Moved over to Michigan from Wisconsin. The Arts Council has been in the White Lake community since about 1985. Currently, we live right next door to CatchMark. We are at 106 East Colby Street in Whitehall. We offer classes all year round for all ages, music and art, mostly visual art classes. And then we also have an exhibition gallery. We rotate about 8 exhibits throughout the year. And we have a retail gallery. We've got about 42 West Michigan artists that sell their work at our gallery throughout the year.
Awesome. Thank you. And what a history the Arts Council has. And Lynn, I think that's what you're going to share with us. Tell us a little bit about where it all began.
Well, good morning. And first of all, I would like to thank the Chamber and CatchMark. I think this is a wonderful program, and it's interesting for the citizens to see some of these organizations and businesses and where they came from. And
sure.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I was one of the founders of this organization, and we started before actually 1985. It was a very informal group. And the reason was that the schools at this time had been cut funding.
Okay.
And the first thing that was cut was art and music. Mm-hmm. And so we were young mothers at that time and had young children and thought we needed to supplement that. And of course, there was always the tug of war between athletics and the arts, in public schools. And so the athletic group had a booster organization. And that was kind of what we were going for, was to imitate the fact that, we're going to be the booster for the arts in the schools. Mm-hmm. And it was very informal for a number of years. And one of my dear friends that needs to be recognized, she just passed away, is Nancy Rose. And she's just was a dynamo in forming this organization. And I remember vividly one of the things that she said is, we were trying to name us. What are we? Who are we? Mm-hmm. And she said, and we all said, well, White Lake Chamber, White Lake thing, whatever we were. And she said, no, you start with the arts because it begins with an A. And it will be at the front of the telephone book, so you can see where we're coming from. So,
that's great.
But it was just, she just dragged us into it, and we were there. We were very informal until about 1985, and then we tended to gel and get much more of a organization type of structure. We made ornaments, Christmas ornaments, and we sold them at the Lewis House. Which was just down there. And we started the summer concerts. The summer concerts has been one of our stable programs throughout the years. And they've been very popular. They don't necessarily raise a lot of money, but they are a great community service in the summer. The other activities that we did, there was a system called the Art Train. And the Michigan Humanities Council had sponsored a train, literally, that went around the state with various art exhibits on it. And each community would staff it with people, and we would tour them. The first one that we did that we had here, was Indigenous peoples. And it was very, very interesting for this community. We sponsored scholarships. We weren't offering necessarily a lot of classes at that time, but we would sponsor scholarships to Interlochen. We would sponsor scholarships to Blue Lake so that students could go and attend that. In 1999, was our next big move. We added the gallery. We needed an outlet for local artists, and it was desired and participated. First, it was a cooperative, and people had to actually volunteer your artist.
Okay.
You'd put your art in, and then you volunteered so many hours. Well, that was cumbersome for everybody and difficult management without a lot of people working for us. So it eventually just became a gallery where the Arts Council has a percentage of all the sales. So that's the way we went. Today there's 42 participating artists. And if you go into the gallery and look at the items that we have, they're amazing, from type to media to size to color. It's very, very interesting. The next big move was in March of 2002. We created the Lake-Nuveen Center for the Arts. This credit goes primarily to Kathy Rogers, White Lake former art teacher in Whitehall. She knew the Nuveen family, who had vacationed in White Lake for years, and convinced them that we needed support. Over the years, they have donated every year between $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 every single year since then. So it's almost over $600,000 that foundation has supported us, and therefore they have naming rights right along the window, and that's why it's the Nuveen. They deserve every bit of recognition. In 2005, which was our 20th anniversary, two of our members, Phil Vanderpool and Pete Kuntz, established the Art Walk. We have this beautiful bike trail, and they thought it would be a great idea if we had art along the bike trail, and we do. Their goal was 25 installations. We now have 19.
Okay.
And we're working on ways to maintain them and add them every year. I think the most recent one is out by the bayou at the bridge, and they're just interesting part of the landscape. 2014 was probably one of our major years. We did a lot of internal reorganization. We put together the Nuveen and the Arts Council. We kind of blended them more formally. We moved from Montague to Whitehall, and we have our Whitehall store and offices over there. And it gives us a lot more room. We have more classroom space, we have more meeting space, and we have a bigger space for the gallery artists to enjoy. Excuse me. In 2016, Dave Picard, one of our longtime members, decided it was time that we establish a foundation, so that an endowment, so that we can be a permanent, stable fixture with the flexibility of funding for 503Cs. It's difficult. And so he came up with that. We were blessed to have the Hiltz Foundation tell us that if we would raise $500,000 on our own, they would match it. That would give us $1 million base for our permanence. We could have our gallery director. We could have everybody stable and know that we were going to be around. It wasn't a year-to-year type of thing, which for a while it had been. We completed that campaign in 2021, so we are funded that way now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was Susan Newhoff was very active in doing that and organizing us and promoting and meeting and greeting, and that's so important. And we thank all of these members. There are so many volunteers, and I am not going to be able to mention all of them. So I hope if you're out there and you say, I worked, we know you've worked and we thank you. But this podcast could go on for a long time if I could them. Two that I would like to mention that have been around for a while and are just tireless volunteers are Jane Hanna and Alice Gamble. They are just always there. You can call on them, they'll do it. You can call on them in a minute's notice, and you know it's done. It's there. And in my reflection, I look at where we were. This has been a great opportunity for me to kind of go back and recognize where we came from.
Sure.
And, we started with no employees, no directors. Then we had a part-time director, and we are now at a full-time director and 2 part-time employees. So that really recognizes how important we are to the community, that we provide what they want. We provide the services that they want. We go from Music Together program for infants, and then we have the Spark program for mature adults. And so we are doing our best with diversity and inclusion to make sure everybody has a face in the Arts Council. Personally, and I'll just put my little thing in, this is one of the things that I am most proudest of in my life, that I was instrumental in providing this. And when I look at all the people who have benefited, children and adults and employees and members, and all the things that we have provided over the course of these many, many years, somebody's had a finger in it. And I just like to kind of step back and say, yeah, I had a part in that, and I'm very happy. So that's a brief history, and maybe not sound brief to you, but it was brief to me. So again, thank you for the opportunity to do this.
Well, sure. And thank you for all that work that you have put into the organization.
Of course.
Yeah, it is probably brief. There's a lot of other additional happenings that maybe took place over the years, but you kind of needed to roll it all within, a 10-minute time frame. So with that, Erin, what are some of these hurdles that you feel the Arts Council has encountered to bring it to where it is today?
I mean, the biggest hurdle with a nonprofit, I think, probably across the board is funding, right?
Sure.
So
Okay.
it's a constant for us. It's always, looking at the budget before making any purchases. So for us, our funding primarily comes through donations, sponsorships of the various events that we host, and grants. So we just finished writing one grant. I literally started writing another one yesterday. So it's just an ongoing process. But it's a lot of fun.
And along with that comes those victories, right?
Right,
Those
right.
accomplishments. And so
Yeah.
share with our viewers some of those accomplishments that you can really tag and say, this is a feather in our cap. This is
Yeah.
something that we have overcome and achieved.
I mean, the one we already mentioned is the endowment fund. So having an endowment fund that will have a balance of over $1 million for a nonprofit of our size is amazing. And so the way that works is that $1 million will just sit there and we earn interest on it. And those are the funds that we can pull to pay our staff or make programs happen. One of the things that I'm proudest of is just the variety of programming that we're able to offer the community. So the free summer concert series is one of my favorite things to host. We also have an emerging artists of color residency, which is only 3 years old at this point. All the various exhibits, we do a wide variety, and a lot of them are open to the community, and so we bring folks in that way. So very proud of all the different programming that we do.
And that's been a big impact in our community. That has influenced so many different lives, different ages. Anything else that you would like to share of what has impacted the community?
Do you think of anything that you want to?
No, I think the importance that I think is the variety. There should be something for everyone here, and if there's not, please let us know. What do you want?
Yeah.
What can we provide for you? Whether you're an art teacher, we just had that discussion, or whether you're a personal artist or a hobby artist. There are more adult classes coming along.
Nice.
It was just a scarf class I noticed the other night.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street.
Sure.
We can't provide it if we somehow don't know that you want it. So please do let us know.
I would say a big community impact is our programming, our classes. A lot of our youth classes, our spring break art camps, and our summer art camps are extremely affordable, $10 a class, and the classes are normally 2 to 3 days long. are made possible by sponsors. So Seavers Lawn Service usually supports our spring break art camps, and then the Lothman Family Fund of the Community Foundation supports our summer art camps. We have just started rebuilding our scholarship fund, and those funds are going to be used to support our adult classes. Because the kids' classes are so well supported, we are going to start offering scholarship pricing on some of our more expensive adult classes. I try really hard to make the adult classes as accessible as I can, but I still need to pay my teachers.
Sure.
I still need to get good quality supplies. So
Yeah.
for those adult classes that have a higher price point, we're going to start offering 2 lower price points. So for example, if the class is $100, we might post an option for paying $75 or paying
nice.
$50.
Okay.
And then of course, if you want to support the scholarships, I'll also throw in, you can pay $125 to keep the program going.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's an additional fundraiser for us. We have to have the funds to be able to offer the scholarships. But I'm really excited. We've had this idea for a while. We couldn't figure out how we were going to do it. And then Alice Gamble blew an epiphany into my head. And now it's going to happen.
I love
I'm very
it.
excited about
Great.
that. Yeah.
I admire how multifaceted the organization is. Anything from the performing arts, which we appreciate, especially with the Tuesday night free concert series. That is just a wonderful addition to the activities and happenings in our community. I love your art gallery. The art gallery is amazing. For those who have not been in there yet, the White River Gallery, make it a point to do so, especially this fall and upcoming holiday season. And then your programming. I mean, you have really blossomed in so many different areas. We love the art walk, especially the bike trail is one of our top assets, and just to add those sculptures along the bike trail, people love seeing those. Good. So that's another added asset to our community. So thank you so much for sharing with us. Be sure to join in on social media with the Arts Council of White Lake, and also refer to their website as a reference. And what is that website?
It's www.artswhitelake.org, and you can find links to our various social media pages on there and see what classes are coming up, what's in the gallery right now, and what events we have on the calendar.
Excellent. The Arts Council of White Lake is a true gem in our community. We're so fortunate, so blessed to have it right here in downtown Whitehall, serving both Whitehall, Montague, and the surrounding areas. I know people come from, a distance too, just to even participate and appreciate what the organization brings to the community. That wraps it up for this episode of We Built This White Lake. Thanks again for joining us. Be sure to check out the Arts Council of White Lake on social media, as well as checking out their website for upcoming events and activities. See you next time.